Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are, whenever you are. Hello, thank you for watching my videos. It's Mike. It's December 18th, 2008. And here's a roundup of some of the news stories making the papers this morning. Now, please remember, everything that I mention, I will link. You can go look this up yourself. And you can decide whatever you want to decide from this information. I'm merely giving you my spin on it. Now, before I start, I should mention George for Title. I've included a link to his channel. You should go check out some of his latest videos. It'll give you some ideas. Okay, so we'll start this report with something of a lighter variety. From the Daily Telegraph today. The royal family not allowed to play Monopoly. Now, it's a tradition here in Britain that you have your Sunday, you have your chicken, your Christmas roast. It's always a roast. You have to have a roast. You know, you have to have roast chicken and hundreds of vegetables and those lovely things called Brussels sprouts, which I happen to love. I love Brussels sprouts. I don't know why people get upset about Brussels sprouts, but anyway, have your big lunch. Usually finish around about 2:45 or so. 3 o'clock, Queen comes on, gives her Christmas speech, talks about what she wants to do this year, and then people generally go off and do their own thing. Now, what commonly happens is people will play games. They'll play board games, they'll play video games, whatever. But there's generally board games to get the family together. It's Christmas after all. You should be together. So, what does the royal family do? They don't say. Basically, Prince Andrew was presented with the property board game Monopoly. They were up visiting a building society in the north of England, and he was given this game as a thank you for visiting and opening up a new headquarters or something, some nonsense. He remarked, "We are not allowed to play Monopoly at home. It gets too vicious." Now, who would have thought that the royal family was as competitive as all that? Yeah, they don't really need to play Monopoly, they just play with their real properties. I'll sell you Sandringham for, whatever. Okay, real news now. Financial crisis. Free money coming your way. This is also from the Telegraph today. Should quantitative easing... Now, I'm going to read this without really stopping, okay? So you might get a little bored. But remember, when I say quantitative easing, this means fire up the printing presses. Okay? Should quantitative easing, as central bankers call these measures, prevent a long, drawn-out period of deflation, it would do so only at the cost of brewing up a tremendous bout of inflation in subsequent years. Yeah. Whether this results in double-digit inflation is academic. The upshot will be a sharp rise in interest rates for a long period. A year or so ago, it was fashionable to paraphrase Robert Frost, to warn that we are trapped between the extremes of fire and ice. Oh yes. These are drastic measures, but understandable when one considers the scale of the economic devastation thrown up by the financial crisis. Okay, now this is major paper. This is read by, hundreds of thousands of people in England every day, in Britain. Okay? But the statistics are bearing out the pessimists' worst fears. Yeah, go figure. Unemployment is rising at the fastest rate since the 1970s in the US, and in Britain faster than at almost all points during the last recession. Yeah. 2 million people will be jobless by Christmas. Companies of all hues in all sectors are laying off workers and slashing investment. Banks are cutting credit lines and leaving many firms facing bankruptcy. Yep. Now you mentioned in there unemployment. So the next piece is about unemployment. This is from today's London Times. By counting those left out, total tally would reach 4 million. So basically, right now, there's 4 million people unemployed in England. Not the 1.8 million that they're currently claiming. And he goes on to explain. Unemployment, one would reasonably assume, is the state of not being employed. This would make sense. If you looked at a dictionary, unemployment would be not employed. Following this logic, by adding together all the employed people and unemployed people of working age, i.e. from 16 to 65 or whatever retirement age is, you would expect to get all the people of working age in Britain. Ah, but you don't. Why is that? I'll tell you in a sec. According to official stats, the employment rate is 74.2%. So 74.2% of all working age people in Britain are currently employed. Which would obviously lead one to believe that 25.8% are unemployed. Ah, here's the rub. According to official stats, unemployment rate is just 6%. Okay, 1.8 million people. That leaves 1 in 5 people unaccounted for as being neither employed or unemployed. How can that be? Lies, damn lies, and statistics. Basically, the remaining 20% of the employable people in Britain are on some other system. So they're either on incapacity benefit, for instance, they can't work due to health reasons or mental illness or stress or whatever. There's an awful lot of people who are signed off on disability incapacity benefit because they're far too stressed. Well, is it any bloody wonder in this economy? Fresh credit strain in Europe as Deutsche Bank shocks markets. This is again from the Daily Telegraph. Deutsche Bank has refused to redeem a bond in an unprecedented move that has rattled Europe's credit markets and cut short the relief rally following America's dramatic move to zero rates. Deutsche Bank, Germany's top lender, said it had chosen not to exercise a call option on a subordinated bond worth 1 billion euros, breaking an iron-fast code in the credit markets. The bank's shares fell 7% in Frankfurt. And the default insurance on the credit surged. Yeah, no wonder. Now, this is Deutsche Bank, the largest bank in Germany, saying, nope, we're not going to pay our bond. Sorry. Now, of course, they are allowed to do this. The contract says it lets the bank accept an automatic rise in interest costs after 5 years or call the option and raise the money on the open market. So basically, they've decided that they're not going to call the option. They're not going to go and try and raise this 1 billion euros on the open markets. They're just going to say, okay, well, we'll pay you higher interest on the bond for the next year, 2 years, 5 years, whatever it is going to be. Now, this makes one wonder, why do they need to have 1 billion euros? I mean, they're a big bank. They got plenty of billions. They got lots of billions of euros. Why won't they pay out this 1 billion? Maybe they need it for something else. Like to keep themselves alive. Okay, next story I won't really talk about, but Qantas, British Airways was attempting to buy 51% of Qantas, which is Australia's airline. And I've included a link to the Australian news, so you can look at this if you're interested. Oil falls below $40 despite OPEC cuts. Oil prices tumbled below $40 for the first time since the summer of 2004 today, despite an announcement from OPEC of a record production cut of 2.2 million barrels a day. There is just so much oil in inventory out there right now, said Michael Lynch, president of Strategic Energy and Economic Research. Nobody wants to buy this stuff. That sounds familiar with a lot of other industries and markets, doesn't it? Nobody wants to buy it. Lynch went on to say, global demand has slowed to its worst point since the 1980s. Economists previously thought China and other developing countries were impervious to a global recession. Impervious? No. Now it's pretty clear that things are going to be bad everywhere. Well, you just figured that one out. Should have called me a few weeks back. I would have told you. Oil prices will easily fall below $40 per barrel in the next year and could tumble all the way to $30. This is IHS Global Insight chief economist Nariman Bavarich. I guess he's Indian. I guess. With the economic outlook deteriorating by the day, future markets for commodities have not priced in the full extent of the demand destruction taking place. In other words, OPEC is scrambling. They're cutting production. They announced a cut in production of 2 million barrels a day a month ago. Now they're cutting a further 2.2 million barrels a day. So they're cutting production 4.2 million barrels a day. Why is this? Nobody wants the oil. This is going to seriously mess up Saudis and all the other oil-producing countries. Iran, Venezuela, they're all going to get screwed by this. Now, I've included a link to a piece with Lindsey Williams, so so you can go see what he says about this and what's going to happen. And you should be afraid. However, do not panic. Don't panic. With thought behind it, you too can figure out how to get past all this mess. So, thanks very much for watching my videos. Peace, love, understanding. Understand what this means and how it affects you will get you way past it. And you won't freak out like everyone else is going to do when this thing fully hits. Everyone, have a great Christmas. I'm going to take a few days off. Of course, tomorrow is the boycott YouTube day, so I'm going to. So there will be no update tomorrow. And more than likely on Sunday, there will be no update. Saturday and Sunday. Depends on how I feel. Probably I'll do one on Sunday. Okay, folks. Cheers. Thanks very much. Bye.